Hi everyone, Ados from Real Deal here. I was choosing a Midi keyboard lately because I was getting back into composing music and I become to like Fruity Loops. Back in the 90s, in the late 90s, I used to use some trackers under the DOS, the disk operation system, the old Microsoft system. And then when we transferred to Windows, there were a few more maybe other options, but Fruity Loops was really the first one at the time. And 2 years ago I bought the license, and Fruity Loops is great because it gives you lifetime upgrades for one purchase. So I think it was around £120 for the studio version or the producer. I'm not too sure, one of those, but I have basically lifetime upgrades. But back to the controller. So I was choosing a controller. First I picked up Akai MPK249. Great quality keyboard, but you know, it was an overkill. Although I used to have a piano when I was growing up in my flat all the time, proper piano, and was playing with it sometimes. I kind of prefer this Nektar because it's less tireless. They still offer nice kind of feel. I don't really think they are cheaply made. Maybe there are some budgies. The black semitone keys, the plastic is a little bit different, maybe feels like slightly overgraded, but overall the build quality is not that bad. The Akai had endless knobs, rubbery one. Rotation wise, they feel similar. They feel similar quality. Feel wise to the touch, the Akai feel nicer because these are plastic. Akai had bigger slider handles, but again, smoothness wise, they are similar, they are fine, these are great, they feel good. But yeah, I have to say that I prefer the much cheaper Nektar MPK2xx feel of the keys. They basically depress in a lighter way, they have lighter action. Although they are lacking aftertouch, I don't mind because that's one thing I don't have to set in the Fruity Loop Studios. And not all plugins support aftertouch, I believe. I will add one more thing, the pitch and mod wheels on Akai, they were placed in here, so it made the keyboard shorter. And they felt nicer, they were bigger. The pitch wheel was lighter in operation, the mod wheel was about the same. But it's not a biggie. So basically, in this video, I would like to show you how to quickly set up Fruity Loop Studio with the Nektar LX series. What could be your possible workflow, how to assign things around, what are the advantages of this keyboard. Let's say you have unpacked the keyboard, you did plug the USB cable here in, you did turn it on here, and you did launch the Fruity Loop Studio. Okay, so for the MIDI settings, click on the options, click on the MIDI. So basically you have to have your Impact LX Plus keyboard series selected and select port 155. Then on the input side you have two options. You have the first setting in here, which is Impact LX 49 Plus input, and this one is for your keys, I believe. So you will enable it here and select generic controller at the top. Basically leave it and leave the port blank or whatever you need it to. Then you transfer to the second input, which this keyboard adds to your computer now. Again, it identifies your keyboard properly here. And in here you have to click on enable again. This time you select Nektar Impact series. And again, port 155 and enable. You may have a link node on velocity setting set to none, so change it to velocity here. I think the link release velocity is default on the release. So that's basically your MIDI setting. You can close the window. Okay, so that's pretty easy to make the keyboard work in the Fruity Loops. But I would like to propose here some possible workflows now. When you set the keyboard like this, I would propose for you to stay in the preset mode, because preset will allow you to map your controls, although they are already partially mapped from factory. Like when you press mixer, it's already pre-mapped, but I'll propose a different way, and I'll explain why later. Okay, so back to the preset on the keyboard, this button. Let's assign your volumes first. I would like to assign my master to this volume, the most right one, which actually set below the master and track. So you just click on the link controller here, move the slider, and there you go, it's perfect. And then let's assign the others a link to controller one by one, move them all one by one. So now when we linked all the sliders here to our respective sliders on the mixer, on the channel mixer here, now we have the channel 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 always assigned to our physical channels, physical slider on the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. No matter if we are switched to the foreground, for example to the channel rack in here, we can still move, as you can see, our sliders. So I think this is a better workflow when compared to if you would use the preset of mixer. And if I'm switched to the mixer and have, for example, the channel rack in the foreground, I can't move the sliders anymore. As you see, I'm moving them physically, but they are not moving. The mixer, I have to press it again. It has to, now I brought it to the foreground, it has to be in the foreground to be able to move it. And I don't basically like that workflow. So I think it's better to stay in preset and just have the settings applied permanently. No matter what windows is in your focus, you will always have access to channel volumes. If you want to maybe turn up your instrument or turn it down when you play it, so you don't have to bring your mixer to the foreground. This is for me the better assignment. So I would use this keyboard basically mainly on the preset setting here. There might be times if the instrument, the VST plugin is supported, that I would like to switch to instrument and just fool around with the knobs here to tweak it. If it's not supported, I will have to again manually link it to the instrument. But let me show you some other benefits of this keyboard. So shortcuts which are linked nicely are the transport controls in here. I like the way that the loop button in here switches between song and pattern in here. It kind of enhances the workflow at times, that you can switch quickly between those two. So that's set by default. Your scroll through track buttons forward and backward are working properly too. Are assigned properly. You can arm for the recording, pressing the record, as you can see. You can press on the play to play the track, press on the stop for the second time will return it to the beginning. So yeah, these are nicely mapped. I'm going to add an instrument. I downloaded some free VSTs from Brilliant site, which has hundreds of them really, and I really like this. Free piano too, it really sounds like piano. I'll change the preset to free piano only without strings. I already know how I like it to be sounding, so I'll tune it a bit. And just now I should be ready to play the piano, yeah? So that's great. So I'm testing. I assigned the piano, I assigned the first channel, the piano. So now I can tweak the volume on the first channel immediately. So that's very convenient. You can hear it now. Yeah. Now, I'll clone this. But what I'm going to show you now, that apart from the track buttons here, which you can move, use for moving channels here, which is probably not that useful in the end. What is very useful is the assignment of the patch buttons to your positions on the channel rack. So basically you can quickly switch between instruments. What this gives you is the ability to maybe record something fluently and seamlessly switch to the other instrument to play another motif if you are looping, for example. So let me demonstrate, yeah? I'll play the first patch, the free piano 2, up here. And I'm playing some motif, recording, then I just press patch, the right button, and it jumps in here to free piano 2 and immediately selects it. So I can go to patch 1, be playing ordinary piano, and quickly I can go to different instrument. So go to it, playing piano, patch 2, piano with strings. So I like this kind of workflow that I can jump between the different positions on the channel rack without touching mouse or keyboard. Just move back and forward nicely, and basically, you know, it enhances the workflow. It makes you experiment more with combining different instruments. Let's say that you have like 10 positions filled in here on the channel rack with different instruments and beats. So I quite like the FPC2 in the Fruity Loops for doing the beats. So I'll add another position on our channel rack. I'll add the FPC. What you need to do first is to assign your drums to your pads, yeah? So after you click the map nodes for entire bank, you can start mapping, and it goes from the bottom left to the top right, yeah? Just like this. Bottom left, first row, bottom left, second row, bottom left, third row. So start to map. And what you can do here, the Nektar has actually 4 banks. So in total 32 positions on the pads. All you have to do is press the shift button here. Switch to the pad map 2 and continue mapping the 2 remaining top rows. And that's all mapped now. What you like to do now is go to the settings again, layout, and save node layout here. I have it already saved in here, so I can just save, overwrite it. Okay, so now I have the drums, yeah? I switch to the pad 1. So basically, I can move between the patches again. And I have my keyboard with strings, quickly available. My piano without strings, the same plugin without strings. Or my beats. Alright everyone, so I hope you enjoyed my demonstration. I hope you got an idea that, yeah, the LX series Plus can work great with the Fruity Loops, can be customized nicely, has some advantages, some presets, so you can jump into it right away. You don't have to set it much. The last thing I would add, after you finish doing all this, you would like to maybe save it as a layout, so you don't have to set all the sliders again. So what you need to do is basically go to the file, go to save as, and you have to save it as a template, yeah? So for example, on my PC, I have to go to this PC, documents, image line, Fruit Lab Studio projects and templates, and I already have it saved as LX49 testing. So I will save it as LX49 testing 2. That way, after restarting Fruity Loops, you can go to File and New from Template, and you will have the template saved in here. So I hope you enjoyed the video. I really find this keyboard great. I will leave links in the descriptions. The Akai MPK249 was a bit overkill for me, and I really don't have so much money now to justify spending 3 times more. This is 100, about 110 on Amazon, price differs, but I think it's a brilliant value, and like I said, I actually prefer the action of the keys to Akai MPK249, and it's something to say, I guess. A proper pianist might think differently, but I think this is perfectly workable keyboard, very comfortable, very dynamic, and I'm quite happy with the purchase. Take care everyone, yeah? Good luck. Bye bye.